Sam Renick.
Thank you. Again, my name is Sam X. Renick. I'm a children's author, and financial literacy means money. All right, what do we do with our money? And that's a topic that I'm very interested in. I write my books about that topic, and I also write songs about that topic, and develop activities and develop skits, because I think having the right money habits helps everyone. Kids, adults, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're tall or small, if you have the right money habits, you have the opportunity to do a lot more things. You have the opportunity to help your family. You have the opportunity to help other people. You have the opportunity to get what you want and what you need. So that's what I do. And I'm here today. This is like, I don't know, I've been here 4 or 5 times. I love Malabar, Mrs. Overstreet, and we brainstormed and worked together on a lot of programs that I did to help the kids and the parents, the families in this community. So that's why I have a real special place in my heart for Malabar. It's a real joy and pleasure to be with you here today. What I want to do is answer your questions or find out what's on your mind. So if you have questions about being an author, or if you have questions about how do you write songs when you don't even sing on key or clap on beat, how do you do that? Can I do that? I don't sing on key or clap on beat, but I've written over 25 songs. So I can share with you a little bit about how I do it. Maybe that'll work for you, or maybe it won't, or maybe it will inspire you to figure out a way how you can do it yourself. Okay, if you want to ask a question or say something, please raise your hand, stand up, start by saying your name. Please speak loud. It's hard to hear up here. And then ask your question. All right, if you have a question, please raise your hand. I'm happy to answer. Yes, you may. Please stand up. What is your name? Okay, Elizabeth, what is your question? I've been an author for over 20 years. This is my first book right here. It's A Habit, Sammy Rabbit. I think I unofficially started on it in 1998. So that's like 24 and 2 is 26 years ago. But we actually turned it into this book that you see here in 2001. So I started thinking about it like 3 years before. And I was just sharing with the class before this, before we made it into this book, I must have revised it over 100 times. I wrote the words. I like to think of myself, I'm the author, but I'm the boss of the words. I'm the boss of the words. That's what I love about being the author. But I didn't draw any of the pictures. The pictures were drawn by a young man. He's still a young man, but at the time he was 19. He was 19. So, you know what, he might be, and he's the illustrator, his name is Juan Alvarado. So I don't know, there might be an illustrator here today in 4th grade that I might work with today or maybe in the future. Now he's 40, but he was 19. And let me introduce my friend also, Alonzo Silva. Everybody say hi, Alonzo. Hi, Alonzo and I met, oh my God, almost 50 years ago in college. Now, believe it or not, Alonzo graduated from Malabar. Okay. And we're still friends. We're still friends to this day. And in fact, after we're going to go over to Manuel. We were going there 50 years ago, and we're still going there today. All right. Who has a question, young lady? Please stand up in the back. What is your name?
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth. Are you Elizabeth 1 or Elizabeth 2?
I don't know.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, these are the kinds of questions authors like to ask, because maybe I'll write a story, the 2 Elizabeths. All right? Okay, and if you ever want to know, okay, what's your last name? What's the initial begins with?
M.
You're Elizabeth M. All right, I don't know. The other Elizabeth, what's your last name begin with?
G.
Oh, perfect. Because boy, if there was 2 Elizabeth M's, then I'm going to have to do something different. What is your question, Elizabeth?
What kind of books have you ever made?
Okay, my books are all around. This is my books, okay? They're around a character named Sammy Rabbit. And all the books are are about some good or great money habit. Like this book, it's a habit, Sammy Rabbit. It's about the habit of saving. It doesn't even mention money in there. It just mentions ideas that can help you in a lot of areas in life, including money. And the main message in It's a Habit, Sammy Rabbit is saving is a great habit. And then the book ends, in the first book, It's a Habit, Sammy Rabbit, Sammy's saving carrots, okay? But at the end of the book, he asks himself, what should I save next? And what do you think he's going to save next?
Money.
Okay, good job. You're listening. Give yourself a little pat on the back. Yeah, the second book, Sammy's Big Dream. Sammy's Big Dream. It all started one day after summer vacation. Boys and girls, I have fantastic news, said our teacher, Mrs. Gold. We won the Space Science Essay Contest. All right, everybody cheered. We get a chance to ride the world's first outer space roller coaster. But there are two conditions. You're going to need permission from your parents, and you also need $300 each to help pay for the trip. And so in that book, Sammy, what do you think he does first? He finds that out. He's really excited. He's like, man, riding the world's first outer space roller coaster, not even Elon Musk has done that. I can do that, okay? This is my chance. This is a big dream come true. So he's excited. He runs home, and what do you think he does? He talks to his parents. Boy, we must have a lot of potential authors in here or some outstanding readers. He talks to his parents, and what do you think he talks to them about? Can I have $300? And what do you think his parents tell him? No. They say no, but what do you think they say no, but what? They said, we'll help you with half the money if. Okay, you're on the right idea. If you earn and save the other half. If you earn and save the other half. You know, I was telling the students in the last class, one of the things that inspired me to be an author about money habits came from my own personal experience. I grew up in a neighborhood right next to this one, very close. And you know what? We didn't have very many resources. We didn't have very much money. Okay. In fact, we didn't even have money so I could buy a soda, because almost every day that's my dad. Believe it or not, in 1960, a soda cost a dime. All right, so when you go to math class, and how did soda go from a dime to $2.80? All right, okay. That's a math and a money question. All right. So, but he said, no, we don't have money. He said, Sam, we don't have money for soda. But he would say, Sam. And this is something I want to share with you. If you don't remember anything, remember this. He said, you can have anything you want if you're willing to work for it. If you're willing to work for it. And then he would ask me a question after that. What do you think he asked? Raise your hand if you think you know what he asked. Young lady, stand up. What is your name? Stand up, please. Come here and stand next to me. I can tell you're a superstar. All right, good tell me. This is what it's like to be an author. What's your name?
Juliana.
All right, stand a little more straight so I can see you over there. Juliana. All right, what do you think my dad would ask me after he would say, you can have anything you want if you're willing to work for it? What might he say? Okay, you're kind of, if we're playing hot potato. I don't know, do we still play hot potato or we don't play hot potato? He'd say you're warm. You're warm, you're on the right track. He'd say, if you are willing to what? Begin with a W. It's like doing chores. What's a word that describes doing chores? Work! He'd say, if you're willing to work, Juliana, you can have anything you want. You can have anything you want. You know what? And I believed him, and then he would ask, are you willing to work? And you know what I said? I said yes. All right, so if you're willing to work, you can have anything you want. You can have anything you want. Remember that. Every day, just try and get just a little bit better. Just a little bit. Just a nudge, a smidge. A tiny smidge. a micro smidge, get a little bit better. Do that make it a habit. A habit is something to do over and over. Again and again. Do that every day for 365 years. And I promise you this. You're going to become something. Something, and this is something you can do. You can become something good. You can become something great. You're just right now, you're in 4th grade, 3rd grade. All right? Wow. When you're 20, I wonder who you'll be. When you're 25, I wonder who you'll be. When you're 30, I wonder if they'll be writing about you in the newspaper. Malabar student discovers a whole new universe, and people are going there every day. I don't know. If you're willing to work, that might be you, and you have the power to choose that. All right, who has a question? Young lady, okay, yes, we'll have to call him going. Section, yes. Please stand up. What is your name? Okay, a little louder. What is your question, Kayla? Okay, why do I like writing children's books? Thank you, that's a great question. Okay, because when I was thinking, and for me, my best thinking is when I start writing. So wherever I go, I always carry a pen and a paper with me so I can take my thinking, let's just call it thoughts. It's not even thinking, really. I can take my thoughts out of my head, I put them on a paper, and that's when the real thinking begins. So what I was thinking, Michaela, was I think saving money is really important. Then I asked myself, well, when should you start? Should you start when you're 30? Should you start when you're 40? Should you start when you're, 18? And I thought to my dad. And he was telling me about working when I was 5 years old.
What?
Yeah. Because he thought the same thing I still believe. If you're willing to work, you can really become something great. And when you work, a lot of times you get paid. Sometimes you don't, but a lot of times you get paid money. Right? So I started thinking, you know what? What's interesting in how we live now, kids get money, they don't even have to work for it. All right? And I don't know, at 3 o'clock, I've been around a lot of schools when school lets out, and if it's close to a 7-Eleven, get out of the way. Kids are over there taking the money that their parents have worked, that they've exchanged their time for, and they're giving it over to the 7-Eleven person for what? A big Slurpee. All right? So that's what they're doing. They're taking their parents' time and energy, which somebody has said, I will give you money for. I will give you money for your time and energy. They're going to tell you the same thing. I will give you time and money for your energy. And then kids, because they didn't work for it, they're like, okay. Has anybody seen these things called flaming hot Cheetos? Yeah. They've taken over the world, okay? One day, I hope we can write a second Rabbit book about flaming hot Cheetos. Man, right to the store, all I see are these flaming hot Cheetos, right? And so, it's very interesting to me. So, anyways, to answer your question, I thought we have to start talking to kids when they're 3 years old, when they're 4-year-old, when they're 5-year-old, about how to make good money choices because they're making money choices. So, this is an activity book for, it could be for an 8th grader, but, anybody can use it. But you could use this when you were maybe 3 years old. You just tell your baby, Sandy says save. Color. Sandy says save. It's 3 words. Okay? This morning I was working on some sentences. Like beginning sentences. Just like if you're going to become a soccer player, you just start on beginning things like kick the ball. Kick it where you want it to go. Stop the ball. That's what writing is. Simple. 2 sentences. 2-word sentences. 3-word sentences. What's a 2-word sentence? I save. What's a 3-word sentence? I am a saver. What's a 3-word sentence? I like saving. I am a good saver, all right? And then you keep building just like a muscle. That's what happens when you have a habit. It grows. It gets bigger. All right, who had a question? All right, let me get up one boy in here. Yes, young man. Stand up, please. What's your name?
can you get by from the Super Bowl?
All right, man, those are some really fascinating questions. Let me ask you, why do you ask those questions? I'm curious.
Like things that I want by using money.
Oh, okay. All right. So maybe you'll become a Sammy the Rabbit fan or an intern. Maybe you could be my spokesperson to 4th and 5th graders. Can you see? Come on up here. Everybody give Alexander a round of applause. All right. Let's see right here. Let's put it right here. Hold the microphone right here. All right. Let's pretend Alonzo, come on in here for this. He's our head director. All right. Can you see Alexander as a YouTuber? Absolutely. Say hi. This is Alexander.
Hi, my name is Alexander.
I'm at Malabar Elementary School.
I'm at Malabar Elementary School.
And today we have the author of Sammy the Rabbit. Wow! Hey, he's even got some moves. Everybody go over there. Alexander. Wow. Now you see I was giving him the lines? That's writing. That's a script. So I can write for a lot of different things. I spend most of my time writing songs and stories about Sammy the Rabbit. But I've also written articles. They've been in like the New York Times and various places where people, they say, they want to know, like, what do I think? How do you teach kids about saving money? How do you be an entrepreneur? And then I'll stop and I'll think and I'll revise and I'll share some answers. Young lady, please stand up. Oh, I know. Okay. One second. Let me get back over here. All right. So I really like the question. You said like common, like the average amount. All right. So and it varies. So this was my first book. I spent a lot more time that I didn't get paid for time making this book. And then when we went to make it. We had to pay the illustrator, we had to pay a few different people, but then we had to pay the printer. It cost money. Like these books now cost, if I just print one or two of them, they cost about $2.25 to print. So that's one of the costs. But if I printed 10,000, it would only cost like 40 cents. So the amount of books you choose to print, that costs. So look, what I would say, starting off, if you want to, let's call that the business. That's the business part of it. Maybe you want to be a business person. So let's say they cost us $3 to make. Part of it is the printing. Part of it is the money we have to pay people to do it, right? Then how much do we sell it for, all right? So maybe we sell those for $5 or $6. If you can sell them for $10, good for you, but you have to figure out the price. Then you have other expenses, okay? So there's a lot of factors. If you're good at business, you might make millions of dollars. If you're not good at business, you might not make any money. All right, that's business. You might make a lot of money. You might make an average amount of money. You might make a little bit of money. Depending on what you're interested, there's different categories in the business. I do the writing. Then we have people who do the illustrating. We have people who do the sales. Depending on which part you want to be in, that all pays differently. So if you just want to write the books, and that's something that I would share with you, you should start off maybe just writing. Okay, you don't need any money to do that. Okay, and then if you like the business side, maybe what you write about instead of stories, you write. They call them what do they call them? Like their presentations asking people for money. Some people call them pitches. So, Mr. Alonzo, we could use $1 million. Will you invest $1 million in Sammy the Rabbit? And he said, well, why would I want to do that? So in your presentation, you say, this is why you want to do that. Because you're going to make $2 million, right? So I would give you $1 million if I can make $2 million. So that's in a presentation. That's a story too. But it's a story that the purpose of is to get money from other people. All right, so yes.
Based on those questions, I would be more than happy to invest in these questions.
Great questions. Yeah, maybe we should bring them on as a YouTube intern. First they pay them, some stipend of money for them. All right, we'll follow up, or have your teachers follow up with us. They have our emails and all that stuff. We'll leave it up to the teachers if there's a serious interest. key word, okay? Because look, you're young, you have a lot of time. We're old, we don't have that much time. So we have to be, so we have to be very careful about where we put our time, okay? So we have to be careful about that. Young lady, what is your name? Suzanne? Okay, what is your question? Okay, the first book took me 3 years. The second book took me 1 year. I can probably write a pretty good book right now in 3 months. Okay, so it varies. It depends. Like, are you a rookie? Are you a veteran? Are you a Hall of Famer? Okay, so and then it also depends how good you want it to be. How good you want it to be. You know what? You could write a story right now. I remember I bought a story from a 3rd grader for $100. It was just 2 pages. It was the beginning of a story. It was called Sammy and the Karate Karen. You know what? He probably revised that thing about 5 or 6 times. Young lady, what is your name? Testing.
Is it not working no more?
I don't know. What's your name? Say it again. Berenice. All right. Not bad for a first try. Okay, what is your question? Okay, so I have different kinds of books. All right, so these are story books. We have 2. These are activity books. There's 4 of those. Then we have other, they're kind of like activity books, so I'll call them specialty books. So I think 10 or 12. Then if you go online, sandyrabbit.com, we have like a library of activities. There's over 500 activities or songs and stuff like that. Some of them, we have free memberships and then also paid memberships. So I think with the free memberships, you can have like 100 of the activities. So that's what we have. Yes, young lady, what are you going to teach that? Jasmine, what is your question? Okay, because I think, first I like working with young people, kids your age, even college students. I like working with young people. Think of it like you're going on a trip and you want a guide, you want a map on how to get to where you're going. Maybe you want directions. You're going to Disneyland and you come in the gate and you want to go to Tomorrowland. I think they still have Tomorrowland. I don't know if they do. Yeah, how do I get to Tomorrowland? Okay, so that's what I think. I think that's how I can be helpful. Remember I was saying you can become something. Well, I wanted to become something that was good and something that was helpful to people, to not only kids, but to families, all right? To families. For me, families is one of my highest priorities. I want to help and support families. I think parents need help. Teachers need help. How can I help? All right? That was the question I asked myself. And I thought, you know what? Money is a very challenging subject. It's something that I know about the basics, all right? About the basics, okay? I'm not an expert at the highest level, but I'm an expert on the basics. And you know what? I like to read also, and I like to write. So I thought, wow, maybe I can combine these different interests to help kids and help families to do good. Something like that. Yes.
Okay, that's our last question.
Last question, young lady. Okay, what is your name? Elena. Yeah, that's sandyrabbit.com. It's like a library. You go there and you'll see all of our resources. I have to say, probably with the exception of Alexander, if I'm going to hire anybody, it probably wouldn't be a girl. Wow, the girls are on fire. Where? Boys, what are you doing? Are you dreaming of being a... You know, when I talk to kids and I ask, what do you want to be? Like, 10 kids, boys, 5 want to be soccer players, 4 want to be YouTubers, and once in a while, somebody wants to be an astronaut or a doctor or an engineer. Thank you so much.
Give him a round of applause.